Hello and welcome to my ongoing series, Roblox Myths Explained. In this series, I talk about various different Roblox myths and everything you need to know about them. In today's episode, I'll be talking about James Mendel and everything you need to know about him. His myth was briefly featured in the past, but I decided to revisit James's myth for this video. As always, make sure to hit the like button and to subscribe to the channel so that a pillow pet will be delivered to your house. So, without further ado, let's get into it. James Mendel is a Roblox myth that is best known for his various different games and his association with Roblox myth YouTuber Akame Owo. Recently, James Mendel has been gaining traction within the Roblox myth community, getting ranked in various different myth hunting groups and being noticed by many different Roblox myth hunters. James Mendel's myth has expanded to platforms outside of Roblox, which will be discussed along with everything else in this video. The story of James Mendel dates all the way back to November 17th, 2020, so less than a year ago as of this video going up. This marks the date that his account was created. Since James Mendel joined Roblox in mid-December of 2020, this makes him one of the newer myths that I have covered so far. Anyways, the day following his account creation, James Mendel would create what would become his signature game, Mendel's Groceries, which I will get into later. Even though there aren't any specifics currently available, it is known that James Mendel discovered the Roblox myth community by looking through various different Roblox groups and games. After joining the community and being a member for several months, James Mendel decided to start his own myth. Initially, there wasn't a lot going on, but as James Mendel began developing his myth and expanding his story, people began to find his myth and create a small following dedicated to his work. This would give him his initial boost of popularity. Following this, a video will be published in early March of 2021 by Roblox myth YouTuber Akame Owo, in which James Mendel gave him and two others a tour of his game. You know, a typical Roblox myth video. This would cause James Mendel to gain a boost of traction and lead to more people discovering his myth. Also, loads of other Roblox myth hunters and myth YouTubers would begin to investigate James Mendel and his myth. Sometime between December of 2020 and April of 2021, James Mendel created his signature Roblox group, Groceries to Go, which you should go join. This group contains quite a few relationships that James Mendel has, which will be discussed later on in the video. In both May and July of 2021, two different events were held, with the former being a masquerade party and the latter being a skating party event. Both were very successful, with people such as Akame Owo, Absol Moon, Caroline, DeQuilin, Stalzy, and many more attending the said events. Two more games will be created, one in late June and the other in late July of 2021, both of which I'll get into later. Nowadays, James Mendel is a pretty active Roblox myth, being last online around one day prior to recording this. Obviously, this will have changed when this video goes up. As with every Roblox myth in existence, there is some lore that one should know about James Mendel. In this context, lore is the story that helps explain a myth's theme and origins. As always, I'll read out the lore that is currently known and then break it down just so that it's easier for the viewer to understand. The lore reads, James Mendel was a young man. He was 17 years old and was soon about to leave his parents' house to start an independent life. One day, his uncle Bill Disick died of lung cancer and left his grocery store to James in his will. At first, James couldn't take care of the store, so he gave it to his cousin Gabriel. After James grew older, he became the owner of the store again. He was still unable to upkeep it, so he planned on selling it. A day before putting the store up for sale, James was on his way back home at night when he heard a mysterious voice. He couldn't understand what it was saying. The mysterious voice sounded emotionless, and it eventually got louder until it abruptly stopped. He was so frightened by this voice that he slept on his house's floor until morning came. He woke up in his bed and reassured himself that it was all a dream. The mysterious voice then started speaking to him.
Your life is bad. You can't afford dinner. The store is small. You won't be a winner. You can't pay the bills. Your lights are getting dimmer. This can all be fixed. We're all a sinner.
This confused James. He then looked around his room and realized it wasn't morning. It was the next night. Feeling dizzy, James fell back asleep. James woke up in a pitch black room. He looked at the end of his bed and saw a human-like figure. This figure was the one who was talking to James. James wanted to scream, but he couldn't open his mouth. He couldn't move either. The figure then spoke to him, saying it would make James's life better. It would give him money, a better store, better clothes, and a better house, only if it were allowed to use his body for a week. James, who felt as if he had no other option, agreed to it. After a quick second, James woke up again. In reality, it had been a week since the figure spoke to him. He found himself in a mansion wearing a tuxedo. He looked around and saw the mysterious figure once again. Its arms and legs had stitches, and its head was a mouth-shaped stitch with no eyes. The figure revealed to James that their name was Stitch and that their appearance helped them get a better life. James then went out to his grocery store and saw a group of police cars in front of it. He ran to the nearest newspaper box and saw a newspaper saying 7 people killed in local Mandela's groceries in the headline. Next to it was a photo of James running away from the store while holding a knife. The James in the picture also had stitches on their mouth. James looked back at the store and saw 2 policemen running to him. Feeling helpless, James lost consciousness. To break it all down, the story of James Mandel Smith goes back to his teenage years. He recently turned 17 and was preparing to leave his parents' house in order to live an independent life. However, his uncle Bill Disick passed away due to lung cancer, and in his will, James was given his uncle's grocery store. In the beginning, James was unable to run the store, and as a result, he gave it to his cousin Gabriel. As time went on, James Mandel grew older and became the owner of the store again. Like the previous time, he was unable to run the store, so he planned on selling it to someone else. One day, James was on his way home when he heard a voice that he didn't recognize. It was described as being, quote, emotionless and got louder. That was until it suddenly stopped. This managed to frighten James Mandel and cause him to sleep on the floor of his house until the following morning. When he woke up, he was in his bed and simply thought that the events from the previous night were a dream. However, the mysterious voice from the previous night began speaking and muttering the words,
Your life is bad. You can't afford dinner. Your store is small. You won't be a winner. You can't pay the bills. Your lights are getting dimmer. This can all be fixed. We are all sinners.
Understandably, James was confused by this and then proceeded to look around. What this revealed is that it wasn't the following morning, but the next night. Since he was feeling dizzy, James just went back to sleep. Following this, he woke up in a pitch-black room in the middle of nowhere. James looked at the end of his bed and saw a humanoid standing there. This was, in fact, a figure that he had heard in the past. At that moment, James wanted to scream, but he was completely paralyzed and couldn't move any of his body parts. The humanoid figure explained that this would make James's life better in ways such as earning more money, owning a better store, and living in a better house. This was only if the humanoid figure was allowed to use James's body for a week. Reluctantly, James agreed to this deal. After what seemed like a second, he woke up. In reality, a week had passed since James had last met with the humanoid figure. When he looked around, James realized that he was wearing a tuxedo outfit and living in a mansion. Along with this, he saw the humanoid figure, who was revealed to have stitches in its arms and legs, as well as a head with a mouth-shaped stitch. The figure also had no eyes, which made it look a bit like Slenderman if he had a stitched-up mouth and was rotting away. They revealed to James that their name is Stitch and that they helped him get a better life. Following this, James went to his grocery store and saw a group of police cars outside of it. He then went to the nearest post box and picked up a newspaper which read 7 people killed in local Mandel's groceries. Next to the headline was an image of James running away from his store while holding a knife with the police chasing him. The most notable thing in the image was that James had stitches in his mouth. When he looked up, James saw that 2 policemen were running towards him. Since he felt helpless, James soon lost consciousness and passed out. In my opinion, this lore is very interesting as it tells how James Mandel got to where he is today. We learned that James Mandel's story starts when he was 17 and about to leave his parents' house and ends in him getting chased for committing 7 murders. Keeping everything in mind, it makes one feel sadness and bad for James because of everything that he went through. No one knows where the figure came from, but it's known that it went after James and promised him that his life was gonna be better. This did happen, but it came at a cost. The lore also explains some things that popped up in Akame Olo's first video about James Mandel. Overall, I really like the lore and can say that it's definitely bound to attract a lot of myth hunters and myth YouTubers towards James Mandel and his myth. Regarding his appearance, James Mandel's avatar currently consists of an all-white skin tone along with the white hat with black anime hair UGC hat, the Sigmund face, the white suit with black bow tie shirt, and the black suit pants. He also equips the Elder animation pack. In my opinion, James Mandel's avatar is pretty simple yet looks good and clean at the same time. The fact that there's only a shirt, pants, a face, and a hat proves that you don't need a lot of items to have a good avatar. It also doesn't need to be expensive, which is also good. Overall, I give his avatar an 8.5 out of 10 since despite not being the best avatar I have seen, it's still very high on my list. This section is pretty interesting as more information is known about James's personality when he is possessed by Stitch rather than when he is normal. Anyways, regarding his personality, James Mandel acts like a regular human being. However, when James is around other people, he loses consciousness and is followed by Stitch leaving his body. Stitch then stitches James's face and hides it with a paper bag. I'm guessing he uses the DIY Deadly Dark Dominus paper bag for this. Occasionally, Shitstitch will take random people and bring them to his home dimension, which appears as a dark, empty room to regular people. I will admit that this section went from being focused on James Mandel to being focused on Shitstitch. As I said before, more information is known about James Mandel's personality when he is possessed by Shitstitch rather than when he is normal. Despite this, I still wanted to include it for this video. There are 3 games that James Mandel has at the time of writing this. In order, the games are Mandel's Groceries, Mandel's Market 2015, Kansas City, Missouri, and Mandel's Apartment. The most popular of the 3 is Mandel's Groceries, with over 14,000 plays visits as of this video going up. The game was made on December 18th, 2020, and was last updated on August 14th, 2021, so less than a week prior to recording this. Since there is a lot to cover in this section, I'll only be talking about James's main game, Mandel's Groceries. So, let's talk about it. So, the player spawns in a parking lot with 2 cars outside of a big building, which is the aforementioned store owned by James Mandel. Directly in front of the grocery store are 3 houses with loads of trees surrounding it and another car in the main road, which will be important later. To the left side of the building is a billboard advertising Mandel's Groceries, which the player is next to. In the trees next to this, one can find a car that is partially destroyed and emitting fire. There is also a note on the ground below the crash site, but the text is illegible. Regarding the outside of the building, one can find several things such as posters advertising the store, a few cardboard cutouts, more trees, and a note. The note in question is on the right side of the building and reads, "Sorry, I thought it was you." Moving on to the actual store, it contains things that you'd expect such as different aisles with different items, freezers, shelves, and cash registers. One can click on the items and they'll equip a grocery bag which contains the items in question. Something else that is of interest are shelves that contain plushie versions of famous Roblox myths and myth hunters. A few notable examples include James Mandel, ER4XV, Amelia Agard, That Weird Person, Phil Holliff, Hunter Forrest Reeves, and Andrea927. And one of the aisles next to this, tea made by Amelia Agard is being sold, but it's not part of the buy 2 get 1 free sale. To the right of this is an aisle full of TVs, which are all black except one of them. This specific TV is turned on and showing the technical difficulty screen. On one of the walls, the phrase buy 2 get 1 free is displayed, albeit the Y not being lit up and the R having fallen to the floor. In the aisle next to this, there is an NPC that the player can talk to. Summing up the dialogue, the customer is named Aaron and urges that he is normal. Along with this, he tells the player to go on with their day and to not talk to him. Directly behind this aisle is a bathroom that contains what your typical bathroom would. There is a VHS tape on the ground next to the sink that plays dialogue that I can't decipher. If you know what it says, let me know in the comments below. Keep in mind that this room will become pretty important later on in the video. Going back to the area with the plushies, there is a room that contains various photos of James Mandel's family such as his Uncle Bill, someone named Layla, Phil Holliff, and the founder. One can also find the Mona Lisa with the caption underneath saying family favorite. This implies that the Mona Lisa is a painting that James's family really likes. On the other end of the store is a room dedicated to fan art of James Mandel created by various artists. It includes art made by Akame Olo, Dr. Fike Fleur, Lizzie Wolfie, Ponygirl0235, and Falco Gray. If you want to submit fan art for James Mandel, 2 ways you can do it is posting it on Twitter and tagging his account, or posting it in the #fanart channel of his Discord server. Even though that might seem like all the things there are, it's actually not. To the left of the bathroom are some stairs that go down to the storage room of the building. However, due to a building error that is mentioned in-game, the player has to crouch when going down the stairs in order to go down. Once the player reaches the bottom, they will reach a door that allows them to enter the storage room. Right away, one will encounter a few shelves full of boxes with one of the boxes in the ground. We will come back to the specific box in a bit. To the left of this area is a door that leads to the staff room, where employees can hang out and practice working the cash register. I say this because there's a cash register in the staff room specifically placed there to help employees practice using it. There is also a door that leads to the security room, which is unable to be accessed at the current moment. Going back to the entrance of the storage room, there are 2 things that can be found here. One is the note in the corner to the right of the entrance. The note in question reads, "What were you thinking, Bill? That design hits people's heads if they don't crouch. I guess I don't hate you as you're my uncle." This confirms that the bad design of the staircase leading to the storage room was created by James's Uncle Bill. Therefore, he is responsible for making it hard to go downstairs. Returning to the box that is on the ground, one can click/tap on it and they'll pick up a drill. After this, the player will need to go to the bathroom and use the drill on the toilet. Doing so will allow the player to go through the wall and enter a secret room, which contains things such as an axe on the ground, loads of paper scattered throughout the floor, a photo of two men on the wall, and a cardboard cutout holding a sign that says, "You alright, James?" As for the aforementioned axe, the player can click or tap on it and they'll equip it. After this, the player needs to go back and run into the opposite side of the store. They'll run into a door that cannot be opened. Once the player reaches the door, they can use the axe to chop down the door and enter the room behind it. The room itself is pretty small, only containing a painting of two men, a table with a stack of papers, a chair, two dummies with targets and knives on them, and a VHS tape on the ground. On the aforementioned table, there is a newspaper that vaguely reads, "Man was guilty but set free." This is shown with an image of James Mendel running away from a building. The said image is similar to the one described in the lore section of this video. As for the previously mentioned VHS tape, one can click or tap on it and it will play the following audio.
"I am tired of this place. James had to just give it to me when his uncle left it to him. I am really sick of this place. I know he is having a hard time with money and stuff, but this place gives me chills. I hate this place. James, if you are hearing this, then please know that I did not want to do this. Do you also hear the voice?"
In the trash bin next to the table, one can click or tap on it and they'll equip car keys. Right after this is done, the player will have to run to the car in the road outside of the building and equip the car keys. When they touch at the side of the car, they can walk inside of it and then they will get teleported to a game called Mandel's Market 1986. This game is much more simple than the main game, only containing a small grocery store named Mandel's Market and an area full of trees and grass. Going inside of the store, one can find a few short aisles that don't contain much as well as some boxes and a long aisle that leads to a door. Despite what it seems, this is not everything that can be found in-game. The player will have to go back to the car and open the trunk. This will reveal the axe seen in the previous game, which can also be equipped. With this in mind, one needs to walk to the long aisle in the back and touch the door with the key equipped. Doing this will unlock the door and allow the player to enter a narrow hallway that ends at another door, which is open and reveals a white portal. Touching this portal will teleport the player to a game called Backroom. Here, the player spawns in a hallway full of different photos of James Mandel's family. One thing about the game that should be noted is that the player walks very slow, which makes this rather short game a bit time consuming. At certain points, the hallways will change to all black and the photos on the walls will change into the default Roblox smile with a static background. Don't worry, you'll only have to keep on walking in order to get to the end. Touching the wall at the end of the hallway will teleport the player to a game whose name translates to "You Can Only Destroy Me." The game itself is simply an obby that the player must complete. At the end of the main part of the obby, the player must then jump down to the other part. This will teleport the player to a game called Wake Up. Here, a cutscene is played which involves the police being outside of Mandel's groceries. If one remembers, this event was mentioned in the lore section of this video. Anyways, the player isn't able to walk around the entire map, so they'll have to go down a designated route. Specifically, the player can only walk down the aisle in front of them. After some time passes, the game will temporarily change into a more simplified version of Mandel's Groceries with text that says Mandel's Groceries 1984 appearing on screen. After a bit though, everything returns to normal. Continuing on, the player will then make a right and walk down to the storage room. Somehow, this teleports the player in front of the bathroom which they can walk into. Like in the first game, the player will then walk to the toilet and go through it in order to enter the room with the axe. Touching the axe will make everything go to black and display the phrase, "Thank you, James." This is likely Shift Stitch thanking James for letting him use his body. Following this, a completely black hallway will appear and the player will have to walk down it. At the end of the hallway, there is a door that is open and reveals a white portal. Touching this portal will teleport the player back to the main game, Mandel's Groceries. Therefore, the events of all of the games mentioned can be interpreted as a loop. Stalzy's video showed another area in game that one can access using a candle, but I couldn't find it even though I was in the storage room. With this being said, I won't cover that part of Mandel's Groceries. Apart from that, there's not much else to see in game. In my opinion, Mandel's Groceries is a very interesting game that leads to a variety of other games. The fact that it is able to tell a story via being teleported to different games shows that James Mendel has made lore that is able to be translated into Roblox games. Back when I first covered James Mandel, the game was much smaller and teleported to games that are not present in the current version of Mandel's Groceries. Initially, the game starts out in James Mandel's grocery store, but as the player explores more of the building, they find things that can be used to further progress into the game. This can allow the player to go to other games that are a part of the mid-story. Even though it will take a bit of time to get through all of it, it is well worth it to complete it. Overall, Mandel's Groceries is a pretty interesting and cool game that the viewer should go play. As with every popular Roblox myth, there are a few relationships that James Mendel has with other people. The information for this section will be taken from James's Roblox group Groceries to Go, which you should go join. So, let's get into it. The first few relationships that James Mendel has is with his cashiers. Obviously, these are people that work the cash registers in his grocery store. Some people that have this rank include Amelia Agard, Eritmaster, Nico Stella 6, Jack Happy, and Absol Moon. Speaking of which, I saw Absol Moon join Mendel's Groceries while I was recording footage for this video. Anyways, the next few relationships that James Mendel has is with the security. As implied by the name, these people maintain order and protect those inside of the building. The three people in this rank are Wistful Deirdre, Zach Will, and Layla Joe. One thing to note is that as I'm recording this, Wistful Dre hasn't been online for over 3 months, which means that it is not an active account. As for the other two, it's only been less than 1 to 2 weeks since they last logged in. Of course, all of this may or may not change after this video goes up. The final few relationships that James Mendel has is with his family. No, I am not talking about romantic relationships, that would just be a crime. What I mean is there are 3 family members that are in James Mendel's Roblox group. In order, they are Bill Disick, James Mendel, and Grace Mendel. Bill Disick is James's uncle if that wasn't clear, Michael Mendel is James's father, and Grace Mendel is James's mother. We don't really hear from James Mendel's parents in the myth story, but this can change at any time. We'll just have to wait and see. Those are all of the relationships that James Mendel has, with each one playing a different part in his myth story. Like every other major Roblox myth, there is some trivia that one should know about James Mendel. As one might know, trivia is just extra facts that are relevant enough to make it onto a video. So, without further ado, let's get into the trivia. The first piece of trivia is that James Mendel is unable to get rid of Shiz Stitch. From what we can gather, I'm assuming Shiz Stitch is an entity that one is unable to get rid of. Since they chose James as their target, they can never leave him. This is just a thought, so yeah. The second piece of trivia is that James Mendel has been in the Roblox myth community for over 3 years. Combine this with the fact that James Mendel is the third myth account that they created, and we learned that the person behind James Mendel is no stranger to Roblox myths. I won't reveal what the first 2 accounts were because I don't feel like asking James. Anyways, the third piece of trivia is that James Mendel is currently allied with Amelia Agard and Eritmaster. This is supported with there being plushies of the two in Mendel's Groceries. Also, they're both under the cashier rank in James's official Roblox group, so James Mendel is pretty good friends with them. The fourth piece of trivia is that apart from Roblox, James Mendel's myth has expanded to other platforms including YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Fandom. The YouTube channel in question is named Groceries to Go, and videos/updates relating to James's myth are posted here. The Twitch channel in question is also named Groceries to Go, but isn't used for much. Of course, James uses it to watch Twitch streams, follow people, and chat with others. Apart from that, however, the account is rarely used. The Twitter account owned by James has the handle Groceries2, and tweets regarding his myth are made on here. However, the account isn't the most active as James doesn't use Twitter a lot. Finally, the fandom account in question goes by the name Groceries to Go and is where James Mendel accesses the fandom website. He has commented on articles in the past, which means that it is used occasionally. The fifth and final piece of trivia is that James Mendel suffers from a condition known as monochromatic color blindness. What this means is that James can only see things in black, gray, and white shades. Obviously, this can severely affect one's life as color is an essential part of it. With this, we learn more about the reality of James Mendel's life. Of course, this wasn't all of the trivia, but I decided to include the most interesting and important ones for this video. To wrap this all up, James Mendel is a Roblox myth that is best known for his various different games as well as his associations with Roblox myth hunters and myth YouTubers. His myth experienced a boom of popularity in 2021, which led to many people discovering and investigating him. James Mendel's story dates all the way back to mid-December of 2020 and has developed his myth since then. His lore revolves around him encountering an entity and being haunted by it after obtaining his uncle's grocery store. Murder and possession is also involved in James Mendel's myth. His personality is pretty normal under most circumstances, but can change a lot when possessed by the entity known as Shiz Stitch. James has several games that each tell a different part of his myth story. When played in order, it can give the player an experience that is unlike many other Roblox myth games. There are several relationships that James Mendel has, with each one playing a different part in his myth story. In fact, they help set up the myth's overall story. All in all, James Mendel is a Roblox myth that has the potential to become very big and recognizable within the community. People have made both videos and fan art of James Mendel, which means that he has a fanbase dedicated to his work. He's also been nominated in several different Roblox Myth Awards, which shows the popularity of his myth. As long as he continues developing his myth and more people find him, his rise to fame will no doubt be a good one. That being said, James Mandel will forever be a popular Roblox myth, and that's everything.